everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another speed build, and this is going to be a community lot inspired by the new Businesses and Hobbies expansion pack. I thought it would be really fun to build a roller rink in arcade. So the first thing I did was actually place down one of the roller rink items, which comes with the Seasons expansion pack, and then I'm trying to build a building around it, as it's a fairly large item, so it was a little bit difficult trying to make this not look like just one giant box. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with how this came out. I did go for a more retro look on the inside, and I was inspired by some of the colors on the particular swatch I grabbed here of the roller rink. And it ends up being a really fun space. I feel like you could bring your Sims to for a party or a date. There ends up being like a party section on the top floor with lots of tables and a buffet table. There's balloons and there's arcade machines downstairs, and it ends up just being a really happy, colorful space. And it feels really nostalgic to me. I know when I was growing up, I feel like every birthday party was at a roller rink. So this was such a fun one to create in The Sims. I built this in the world of Oasis Springs on the museum lot, the Futures Past, which you'll find all that info in the description. But if you'd like to download this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You could also find it under the hashtag Gryphi, and as I said before, that will all be in the description down below. So at this point, I've been playing around with the roof. I added some roofing pieces. I'm also grabbing a lot of different signs to see what might work for signage for this build, because there isn't like items that specify, hey, this is a roller rink in the game. So I just had to play around and see what made the most sense to me. And I am grabbing a front door here, which is one of the new ones from Businesses and Hobbies. I just thought it was really nice, and I love these really narrow windows. I never remember what pack they're from, but I think they look really nice framing the top portion of the front of the build. And I end up using them a couple other places as well. And at this point, I'm trying different roof pieces and trying to cover up some of the blockiness of the build with palm trees, and then just drawing out some pathway to the front of the build. And I tried using these vertical paneling pieces from Eco Lifestyle to sort of frame this corner. It didn't really achieve the look I wanted it to, but it helped me to figure out what I was going to do, which will be actually adding an awning over that section and using some of those vertical pieces as like supports for it, and that's going to be where some bike parking is going to go. But first, I'm playing around with the wallpapers, and I really love this one from Businesses and Hobbies. I feel like I've been overusing it, but it's so nice, and it felt perfect for this space where I really wanted the inside to be really colorful, but also have some retro vibes and have that like wood paneling you might associate with the time period I was going for in this build. So I really enjoyed that, and I also got a bunch of posters throughout the inside and outside of the build. The ones I just placed down are from high school years, and I just thought the colors were perfect for this space. I also really loved the mural I put on the front of the build. That is like down where the bikes are going to go, which I should be placing here shortly, but this mural I believe is from City Living. I might be wrong on that, but it's such a pretty one, and I just thought it captured the vibe I was going for here, so enjoyed that. And then I am painting the rest of the building in this like concrete, which I believe came from the Desert Luxe kit. And then I added a little bit more of the wood as well. But here I should be using these as a support now, these vertical pieces I had mentioned. So I'm just going to be placing those down here. And I think it works really, really well to kind of section off that area and break up the boxiness on the front of the build. It's still a very boxy shape. That's just kind of the nature of how big the roller rink is. If I wanted to keep that inside, it was going to have to be a massive box, and I actually used the smaller roller rink. There is like a regular sized one and then an extra large one, and I ended up using the smaller one, thankfully, because I don't know how I would fit the other one in a build. But it could also be interesting to build this sort of idea, but have the actual roller rink or ice skating rink outside on the property. So that's another way you could probably tackle it, but I really wanted it to be what I was familiar with from growing up and have it inside and have it so there's lots of seating and like a concession area as well as like an arcade. So I went all out with that, and I actually heavily used the Party Essentials kit in this one, which might be one of my least used kits in the game. So that was really fun and exciting. So you'll see that on the inside. And then right here, I accidentally grabbed the dinosaur when I was trying to grab something else out of debug, and I decided he was a really cute addition to the front of this build. It adds some of that like youthful energy, and he just fits so nicely over here. So I put a sign over there as well as some succulents, and I grabbed a lot of different things out of debug to really sell this idea, and I just think he's so cute and friendly. I was really happy with him. And then at this point, I decided I wanted to add a skylight on the top of the building to really just help the roof being so bland, or like help it from being so bland, and also bring in some light to the inside. So I'm just moving it around here to try and find the best spot for it to exist and not have anything floating below it. So just playing around with that now. And I just ended up getting rid of one of the disco balls because I put 3 above there. I decided to go with 2 instead so that we could have that beautiful skylight. And then I'm going to be working on the concession area over here, which I combine some counters with a shelving piece from high school years. And then we have the bar in the front that is from the bowling pack. It's my favorite one for this sort of build because it has a soda machine built in, so it looks like it is proper concessions. And I actually think a bowling alley in this style would also be a really fun one to do in the game. Let me know if that's something you would like to see or if you have any specific ideas. It doesn't even have to be this style. It could be like a more high-end, fancy, or like industrial bowling alley. I think that could actually be really fun. I'm going to write that down. I feel like I constantly have new ideas ever since Businesses and Hobbies came out for more builds, which is pretty normal when we get new content to be inspired by the new items in the game. But I feel like beyond that with Businesses and Hobbies, because it just allows me to use so many things we already had in the game to reimagine spaces and have either a small business lot or a small business being run off of a residential lot with an apartment on it. And I feel like it just opened up so many possibilities, and I'm just constantly writing down ideas of things I want to create. And I really hope future packs have that same kind of impact so long after release. But I honestly don't even know what to expect with future packs. Like, what could we possibly get next? It's been a long time now since we have been past the like normal expected things in the game. We already have all of them. And the last few things have been different. So like Businesses and Hobbies was different. Life and Death was different. So I'm really curious what they might have in store for us this year. And I love talking about that kind of stuff and speculating. So please, let's discuss in the comments. I would love to hear what you think we might see next or what you would like to see in the game. But anyway, I pretty much finished the little concession area and we are starting to work on the front desk. This is where I imagine your Sims would go to pay to get in. However, that's not really how it works, but it did put a register here anyway. And then of course the kiosks you actually do use with a small business venue. And then I start grabbing pieces that I want to put elsewhere, like that really cool either leopard or cheetah on the wall that's really colorful. It reminds me of Lisa Frank. And so I ended up putting that in the arcade space. And then I grabbed these shoe racks that are from the bowling stuff pack, thinking they could be where skate rentals are. I really liked that idea. I'm going to be changing the color of them back to like a plain brown in a little bit here. I also ended up putting the logo in this space again and a little cork board up above the kiosks of like things going on around town or, you know, all of the things you would imagine in a community space if there is a cork board. I like to put those in these areas. You see them a lot in real life, so I decided to do that. I also got this really cool phone and a radio over here as well. I think it's a pretty simple entry desk, but since it's not functionally necessary, I thought it was fine. I also got a pride flag over here and some really colorful artwork. These ones are a base game item. I just raised them up and put them on this really pretty yellow shelf. And I believe I also got some greenery in the entryway and a fun rug. I ended up using the rug from the bowling stuff pack a few different times, but my favorite rug I used in this space is actually a carpet. And it's like a shag carpet from the Pastel Pop kit in a very vibrant, like purple, blue, pink swatch, and that ends up being in the arcade and in the upstairs party space, and I just think it is so fun and very, very nostalgic. Anyway, here I am placing down some seating in front of the rental space, so I wanted to have some like benches. Those ones are from high school years, and then I am placing a bunch of different shoes in these racks. I know they're just regular looking shoes, but I was imagining they were skates, or maybe they were the people's shoes. They put their regular shoes here while they're wearing the skates, so you can imagine it either way. So that was the idea behind this. I thought it was really cute, and the red shelf I'm using, you've probably seen me use before, but in case you haven't, it is a piece of custom content I use. It helps me to place items more precisely at whatever height I would like, but I don't leave it in the game, so this build does not have any CC in it. I also grabbed a backpack to put by that area, so it looks like somebody had just place that down. And then I got lockers over here as well if you want to put your stuff in storage while you were in the space. And I changed the colors of these so many different times, but I liked the idea of having multicolored lockers. So that does stay. It's just the colors change a little bit. And then I have benches on either side for seating, and I will also be rearranging the arcade space slightly. There's not a lot of actual arcade games in The Sims. There is like one big one that I have back here, which is from the Get Together pack, and then we have the virtual reality space. So I put both of those things back here. I also end up getting a vending machine that has like little figurines in it and some like seating and stuff. It's a pretty simple arcade space, but I really liked it. And I really hope at some point in time we get more things that would make sense for an arcade. I think it could be really fun. So yeah, this is that little vending machine. I also got a jukebox back here, and then the chairs I end up using are actually beanbag chairs from high school years in a really pretty color. I also got a framed poster for Blick Block, which is kind of like Tetris, I would assume, in The Sims. And here are those beanbag chairs. I think they're so cute. I really like how that space came out. And then I tried to add some more color in here by painting some of the walls. And I ended up going with like a kind of medium tone, darker blue color, which I think worked so nicely in here. I was having a lot of fun experimenting with the color schemes. And then also these lights here. I don't know if I've ever used these before, but they had so many of the correct colors that I thought that they were perfect on the wall up above the lockers. So I was happy about that. And then we are going to start working on this upstairs space, starting with changing the fence because I just had a placeholder fence there that very much was not the right vibe. And then this is where our bathrooms are going to be. I used some of these stalls here from, oh goodness, what pack are these ones originally from? I don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest. But I think they look really nice in here. I just have like a beige color with the pink tile on the floor. And one of the stalls I chose has graffiti in it. I thought that was kind of fun and realistic. I feel like that's just always the case in public spaces. Somebody's written on the inside of the stalls. I also made sure to get plenty of sinks in here and a place for paper towels and soap and all of that. All of your like normal community lot things. Although one thing I forgot to put in here that I feel like I always forget to put into public bathrooms ever since we got them is the changing table. That is like the wall mounted one for community spaces that we got with the Growing Together pack. But I don't imagine you would probably want to bring toddlers or infants here, but there's plenty of space in that bathroom if you do want to add that changing table into that space. Anyway, this is the party area, and I was so excited to finally use this buffet table. This one came with one of the login events recently for the 25th birthday of The Sims, and I haven't used it yet, and it was just exactly what I needed. We do have other buffet tables in the game, but they're all circular from a variety of packs. So it was nice to have a long one here that I felt like made more sense for the story I was trying to tell up here. And you can see I have balloons on the walls as well as some like strings of balloons, and the tables I'm using, those are all from the Party Essentials kit. I also grabbed a pile of presents over here, and we're going to end up having like a photo area kind of over by the bathrooms. There's going to be a sort of tiled backdrop and some signage and a camera, so it looks like it's a place for your Sims to take photos together, which is another item from Party Essentials. I thought it was a cute idea, so I should be grabbing that here shortly. But first, I thought that this wall was missing something, so I did grab this clock, which I think this is also from the bowling stuff pack. It's just such a pretty clock, and I felt like it was the exact vibe I was going for. But here are those backdrop pieces I had mentioned. I also lined the top with balloons, and I should be extending the balloons over the bathroom door at some point because it felt kind of abrupt that it just ended there. So that will change. And then here's the signage I chose, and I changed my mind on what side things are going to be on because I really wanted the camera to be functional. I did get a camera on a tripod, the one that comes with the Moschino stuff pack, and I just really wanted it to be in a space that made the most sense for your Sims to functionally use this space, whereas the way I had it before, I think it looked nicer, but it probably wasn't going to be functional because your Sims wouldn't be able to get around the space. So I changed that here, and then I'm just getting another poster by the door and going to be extending those balloons, and that should be pretty much it for this upstairs party area. I am so happy with how it came out. You're going to be able to stock that buffet table and make sure that your Sims have everything they need up here. You could throw a little birthday party. I think it would be so fun. And then I just made sure to get a trash can up here as well. But yeah, we're just going to be getting a couple more windows throughout the space and then finishing the landscaping on the outside. And then we should be heading on into screenshots. So I really hope you enjoyed this build. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Also, a massive thank you to my YouTube members for all of your support. If you'd like to become a member yourself, you can click the join button below the video or the link in the description. Thank you so very much for watching. Please enjoy those screenshots, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.